What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Shelf, and today we are talking about Hard Eyes, directed by Josh Rubin and starring Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt. I'm going to keep this video spoiler-free, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, this video will be safe to watch. I will talk a little bit about the plot and what the movie is doing on a structural level, but I won't go into too many specifics. So with this movie, I had seen trailers, and to be honest, I really wasn't expecting anything too crazy with this one. To be honest, it really didn't look that good. But I figured at the very best, maybe it could be a dumb, fun time, and if the movie lived up to that expectation, then I would consider myself satisfied. I'm very happy to report that this movie exceeded that admittedly very small expectation that I had. For starters, this movie is way funnier than I ever expected it to be. Hard Eyes knows exactly what it is, and it is not taking itself seriously whatsoever. And the movie lets you know this from like the very first scene. So right here I will give a brief plot synopsis just to kind of illustrate what's going on in the movie, but it's really not anything that you wouldn't get from trailers, so mild spoilers, I guess, but really nothing crazy. So the Hard Eyes Killer, or HEK, a not-so-subtle nod to BTK, essentially travels to different cities each year on Valentine's Day and kills couples who are in love. So the movie follows our main girl, Allie, played by Olivia Holt, and she works at this marketing agency. I think it's for like perfume or something. Her character is ripped right from a Hallmark rom-com. She doesn't believe in love, she's very closed off, she's very career-minded. Then she meets Jay, played by Mason Gooding, who is this freelance agent who comes in to do some work at the company that she works for, and the two of them have this like meet cute that also feels it's ripped straight from a Hallmark rom-com. It's very funny. This is like a recurring thing, the rom-com thing. It's very cheesy, but the movie is aware of that and it does it intentionally. And it's having a lot of fun with that premise. The film is a loving send-up of not only slasher films, but rom-coms as well. And in my opinion, it walks that balance like damn near perfectly. So then the rest of the film follows Allie and Jay as they try to survive Valentine's Day without being murdered by the Hard Eyes Killer. So since this movie is a blend of slasher movies and rom-coms, Valentine's Day is kind of the perfect medium to play in both of those sandboxes equally, with the romance component as well as the violence component from a slasher movie. So while the movie has these cheesy meet-cutes and stuff that are very intentionally cheesy, it also has a lot of great gore and some really memorable kills as well. They really do not shy away from the violence in this movie. They kind of go for it, and they show it all in great detail, which I obviously really appreciate. Selfishly, I do wish we had gotten a little bit more kills in this movie, but I also know that this movie is like equal parts Love Actually and Scream. So really, I'm just kind of grateful that we did get as much as we did at the end of the day. It's a fine line going between the two and doing both equally. And I really do think this movie does both well. It really does. The movie also has some really funny running gags throughout the movie that really pay off by the end of it. So the Hard Eyes Killer only targets couples, and throughout the whole movie, Allie and Jay are doing this like will they, won't they thing, which in and of itself is pretty funny. So there's a few points throughout the film when, the Hard Eyes Killer is like stalking them and stuff, and like frustratingly they have to keep announcing to him that they are not a couple, despite continuing to find themselves like in these really tense, intimate situations and having all this chemistry. I don't know, I just thought it was a really funny, effective running gag. I would say that despite there being a clear intentionality behind it, when the movie slows down to like have the whole romance plot, the movie does come to a bit of a lull. Understandably so, because it's kind of shifting from slasher movie to rom-com. So, during those parts, I did find myself wanting to get back to some of the gore and the kills that the movie starts off so hot with. It's a minor gripe. I understand what the movie was going for and why they had to have these breaks, so it's not something I hold against the movie too much. The other thing I don't love is that there's a certain character in the movie, and the movie spends a portion of it trying to make the audience question whether or not this character is the Hard Eyes Killer. To me, it seemed like a pretty weak misdirect, but again, it's supposed to be in line with the kinds of movies that this movie is doing a send-up of, so it's right at home here, but, I did find it to be somewhat of a weak misdirect, like I said. but it's all in keeping with that formula. So again, it's not something that I hold too much against the movie, but yeah, I didn't really find that part of the plot to be very effective. On a technical level, there's a pretty lengthy sequence that's set in one location around the midway point of the film, and I don't know if it was just lit poorly or if it was color graded really poorly, but this whole sequence is very dark and like almost distractingly so, and I found it hard to really be able to tell exactly what was going on or to see very well. So, you know, that was kind of annoying, but it doesn't last super long, and then by the time it's over, you kind of just forget about it. Yeah, all in all, I was pleasantly surprised by Hard Eyes. I was worried that this was going to be just like a cynical movie made to kind of cash in on the month of February and only serve as like something that couples could go and see together on Valentine's Day. But thankfully, this movie is a lot more than that, and while it can absolutely serve that function of being something for people to go and see together on Valentine's Day, it's also not something that was just slapped together without any real thought put into it, which is something that I really appreciated. And the last thing I will say is that between this, Thanksgiving, and Terrifier 3, it really feels like we're in the middle of a holiday slasher resurgence. And being the horror fan that I am, that's a pretty fun thing to say. And it's made even better when the movies range from decent to actually quite good. So yeah, I do appreciate that as well. Alright guys, so that's my thoughts on Hard Eyes. Let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on it. Also, let me know, where does this rank for you in the pantheon of Valentine's Day slashers? Admittedly, there are not many. I think of Valentine from 2001, both My Bloody Valentines, the original and the remake, and then there's kind of this. I don't really know any others, so if you can think of any other Valentine's Day slashers, let me know those down in the comments as well. Alright, so with that all being said, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't. We talk about new movies, old movies, physical media, and horror in general. And with that being said, please take care and watch more movies.
Hard eyes, motherfucker.